Hi, I'm Ben Elliott, and today we're at Showplace Studios, and I'm going to demonstrate how we recorded the Vintage Vibe piano. I have several different techniques that I use to record it, depending on the genre of music.
So I used the Vintage Vibe piano on the Dixie Chicks world tour this past year, and one of their biggest songs is Cowboy Take Me Away, and they asked that I play that song on the Vintage Vibe piano, and it's kind of a good example of what the piano can do, because even with kind of a rock sound that we had on the piano, that we generally have on the piano, the intro is a real music box kind of thing played up on the upper octaves, and then the first verse is kind of electric piano, and then at the chorus I really dug into it. So you can hear that on the live recording, and I'll just demonstrate how I did that.
The usual method I use for recording the Vintage Vibe is the first thing I do is take the left and right outputs, and I feed those through a DI, just so I can convert that into a low impedance signal, so that I put that into a mic pre in here and a compressor. I usually don't have to use any EQ. I love the natural tone of the Vintage Vibe. The top end is really nice. It never gets harsh or peaky. It's a nice rounded off sound. If I have to brighten it later or something, I can do that in the mix. But I usually record it flat with no EQ. The mids cut really nice as it is in the mix, and the bottom is nice and tight, and you got plenty of bottom on it. So by taking it out of the stereo output, the left and right, I also get the beautiful tremolo effect that the piano has. What I like to do, though, is sometimes you want something with a little more character or dirt to it. So I also take the effects return output and I plug that into an amp. By doing that, I'm bypassing the preamp that's built into the Vintage Vibe piano. And that's given me a nice pure tone, and I can definitely make everything sound a lot cleaner through the amp that way. And today, I'm using an amp that was made specifically for the Vintage Vibe piano. It's called the VV50, and it's a beautiful amp. It sounds nice and clean. It's quiet. I didn't even know it was on. So that's what we're going to be using for the amp. And if you need a little more dirt, they also make a pedal called the Tube Bomb. It's a nice tube, pure overdrive. So it doesn't really give you distortion, but it brings up a nice harmonics, and it makes the sound a lot fatter. So I use that more on the rock stuff. So the 57 I'm using on it, and to tell you the truth, the 57 is probably the greatest bargain out there. It's a fairly inexpensive mic. It sounds great on vocals, it sounds great on snare, it sounds great on guitar, and that's what I'm using to mic up the amp for the Vintage Vibe piano with the VV50. And that is a great microphone. So anybody can own that. You don't need to go out and spend thousands of dollars on a boutique mic. That'll do the job. But also, what's great about having the amp in mono in the middle is what I usually do, especially if it's featured in the song, is I pan the outputs left and right, so I get the full stereo spread of the piano. And instead of bringing that in closer, the pans, I can bring up the middle channel, which is the amp, and it'll have the illusion that it's coming more towards the center. So I can use that to either stick out and cut in the track, or I can use that to blend in the track by pulling back the amp a little. So the Vintage Vibe piano is suitable for all different types of music. Jazz, blues, rock, R&B, it all works. And I think it's so easily adaptable to that because it captures so much of the expression of the player. If somebody plays soft, it sounds prettier. If somebody plays hard and digs in, it barks. It really captures that in the responsiveness of the player. So everybody sounds a little different on it. It captures their personality. As opposed to a digital piano, which anybody that plays it's going to sound exactly the same. On this, everybody I record on it sounds different.
Are you gonna click on something? Or am I just gonna stand here? Because you can subscribe over here. You can go to our website over here. And we got some videos over here.